I played Division One. Would what you're speaking on right now benefit a player like me who ended up going Division One anyway?
So I'm gonna take it one step farther than you. Let's just say you were LeBron James. I'm gonna
Is your situation unique? I mean, I know your son was smart, he had really good test scores, or is this something that anybody can do?
so like my son is absolutely not special. The kids that my son played AAU with, I think all except two kids would have qualified of the
Okay.
10 kids that I had on that team. We were real purposeful in trying to make sure his academic stimulation was always there, and we was always doing everything we could to challenge him, like from an early age. So like my son was not like naturally smart. He just had that muscle exercise from a very young age and continually. You don't have any control over how tall your kid's going to grow, how athletic your kid's going to be. You got a little bit control over the athleticism. I mean, as you know, like I knew one of the top athletic trainers in the country at the time, and my
Mhm.
son had one-on-ones with him, and it just he was he wasn't meant to be a high jumper. So like I had no control over that, but I did have control over being able to read these math problems so he can be successful in math and all of that stuff. So that's why I actually believe this to be an even better option.
I've seen the program that you've written out and you have, and correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, it seems that you start at sixth or seventh grade. Is that right?
I started sixth or seventh grade mainly because I very rarely talk to a parent of kids younger than that.
Okay.
But if a parent called me today with a preschooler and
Mm.
said, hey, I want to do it like I want to do what you did. We can sit down and put together a plan. And like I said, if we sit down and talk when you got a preschooler, I can guarantee by the time they get to high school, as long as the kid puts in the work. This
Right.
is assuming a kid that's going to put in the work.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you by the time they get to high school, they're going to be an elite academic kid.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
I like looking at the program and looking that it's in place in the learning. I was talking to my basketball players. I was like, you have to learn how to learn. And what happens is kids don't really know that. And the kids, and we have kids that's come through my program that's done it, that's gotten school paid for. But you recognize the sooner they start, the easier. Because let's say you start in sixth grade, sixth, seventh, eighth grade, all before your transcript year, you are being conditioned on how to study, how to think, and you're learning to adopt those things. People think learning is, oh, I listened to this podcast, I read this book, I watched this TED talk or whatever, and they think they're learning. No, you're just being entertained unless you're applying the things that you're learning. Once you start applying it, that means you're learning. And so when you start conditioning kids to have stronger study habits in sixth, seventh, eighth, once they're in ninth, I mean, they're on cruise control at that point. So I love that the program starts so early to help give the kids a better chance at playing sports or just getting school paid for. Let's just use that as the term. So I really like that about the program. I played Division One. I think this is a fair question because you know my career and you know me as a player enough to say this. Would what you're speaking on right now benefit a player like me who ended up going Division One anyway?
so I'm going to take it one step farther than you. Let's just say you were LeBron James. I'm going to tell you yes, yes, this helps you. When I was in high school, I remember having a conversation with Maurice Cheeks. Maurice Cheeks, I forgot who's the assistant with now, but Maurice played in the league a long time, won the title with the Sixers. He's been a head coach in the NBA. And when I was really young, he said to me, he was like, "Hey, young fella, you're gonna be an ex player longer than you're gonna be a player."
Mm.
And at the time, I did not understand what he was saying. It sounded like ridiculous stuff to me. Uh, but now, as
Yeah.
a middle-aged man, I totally understand it. If you're a Division One player and you're really, really good, like really, really good, the chances are you will never play a minute in the NBA. So therefore, you're going to spend most of your life working a job or running a business.
Yeah.
So if you're working a job or running a business, what's more important? Whether you can hit an open three-pointer or you can calculate a carried interest deduction. I mean, these aren't like, this is not difficult.
Not hard.
It's not hard. So let's go back to your situation. You are a really good Division I basketball player at a mid-major, had a good career, got a chance to play in Europe some, and now your business is in basketball.
Right.
However, it's still a business. So you still have to, you got to make the numbers match. You got to know all the business things along with knowing how to teach a kid pick and roll reads.
Right.
Without the academic piece, you can't spend all your time teaching the kid pick and roll reads. You got to keep the lights on. You got to make sure your taxes are paid. You got to understand finance. You got to be able to write a business plan. All of that stuff leans on your academics, not on how many jump shots you made. In my life, I was a really good basketball player. From the moment I can remember, everybody told me I was going to play in the NBA. Did not happen. When I got done playing, I went to law school, mainly because I played basketball. I mean, I was a good student, but I probably wouldn't have got into law school I got into. I went to the University of Illinois. At the time, it was ranked 15th in the country. And I probably wouldn't have got into that law school if I didn't have the grades and LSAT score. Plus, I was the only person in the class that had just got done playing basketball. So that differentiated me in the class and had them reach down and grab me instead of somebody else. But my point is, I've spent most of my life now, I'm still not quite at the point. I think I got another 3 years when I'll be an ex-basketball player longer than I was a basketball player. But when I look at the situation my family's in and where we at like financially as a family and what it's done for my kids, what I did after basketball was way more important. And I think it's going to be the same thing for you, Juwan. Ultimately, for your wife and for your kids, you building your business has got more to do with how their life is going to be as opposed to how many jump shots you made and whether your pick and roll reads were good. So yeah, I think that this is important for everybody.
Now, and just to kind of piggyback off of that, I was an AB student, could have done better. I just didn't know that was a need. And one of the things I would tell people is, let's say I did go this route and I went to the academic camps because Division I, like Ivy League schools, don't give scholarships. They're at those same academics camps. So they're still Division I. So now I have the grades. I'm obviously a Division I player. So instead of having 6 or 7 offers, I get 15. So I love opportunity. Matter of fact, let me. I have a stat on that. It's called Making the Grade, and it's the percentage of college universities that can recruit you based on your core GPA. So if you're a 2.0 GPA student, only 8% of schools you can go to. And it goes all the way from 2.5 to 3 to 3.5, and the numbers keep going up. If you're a 4.0, the numbers leap to 94% of schools. So if I have a 4.0 GPA, automatically I have more. And another thing I'd say is, and I took this from you, after you came from that academic camp, you told me, hey, look, these Division IIIs don't feel like doing all this research. If you do an exposure event, which I did at the University of St. Thomas, and I offered the GPA, the SAT, and the ACT. We had two schools that were academic schools, and the rest, the other 12 or 13, were just regular schools. There were 6 kids. There were academic kids. There's about 60 kids there. So already their numbers went up because those 2 academic schools looked at the numbers and they're like, hold on, you got 6 kids that qualify at my school. So afterwards, when coaches were allowed to come down and talk, they're like, man, why are they talking to Dylan? He's not that good. Well, he's good compared to those other 6 that he was competing against.